President, please be seated. The court is now in session. Today, the chamber will hear the remaining testimony of civil party Dam Dun and begins hearing another witness, that is through TCW 886. And before we proceed, the chamber wishes to inform the parties today that Judge Yutra, who is the national judge, is absent for urgent personal matters. And after the bench deliberated, we appoint Judge Thumani, who is the reserve national judge, in place of Judge Yutra for today's proceeding, as well as until such time that Judge Yutra returns. And this is pursuant to Rule 79.4 of the ECCC internal rules. And today, Judge Vance is capable to take part in the proceedings due to her improved health. And the greffier, please report the attendance of the parties and other individuals at today's proceedings. Greffier, Mr. President, for today's proceedings, all parties to this case are present. Mr. Nunchi is present in the holding cell downstairs. He has waived his right to be present in the courtroom. His waiver has been delivered to the greffier. The civil party, Mr. Pradun, who is to conclude his testimony today, is present in the courtroom. We also have a reserve witness today, that is through TCW 886, who confirms that through his best ability and knowledge, he has no relationship by blood or by law through any other two accused, that is Nunchi and Kyo Sampon, or through any of the civil parties admitted in this case. The witness took an oath before the Iron Club State True yesterday. Thank you. President, thank you, Ms. Jia Siu Huang, and the chamber now decides on the request by Nunchi. The chamber has received a waiver from Nunchi dated 3rd December 2015, which states that due to his health, headache, back pain, he cannot sit or concentrate for long, and in order to effectively participate in future hearings, he requests to waive his rights to participate in and be present at the 3rd December 2015 hearing. Having seen the medical report of Nunchi by the duty doctor for the accused at the ECCC dated 3rd December 2015, which notes that Nunchi has back pain and dizziness when he sits for long, and recommends that the chamber grant him his request so that he can follow the proceedings remotely from the holding cell downstairs. Based on the above information and pursuant to Rule 81.5 of the ECCC internal rules, the chamber grants Nunchi his request to follow today's proceedings remotely from the holding cell downstairs via audio-visual means. The chamber instructs the AV unit personnel to link the proceedings to the room downstairs so that Nunchi can follow. This applies to the whole day. The chamber wishes to hand the floor now to the defense teams to put questions to this civil party. And first, the floor is given to the defense team for Nunchi to put questions. You may proceed, counsel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors. Good morning, counsel. And good morning, Mr. Civil Party. I would like to start asking you some questions about what you said yesterday. I believe you said that at one point in time you had been interviewed by investigators. What did you mean when you used the word investigators?
Please repeat your question since I do not fully get it.
You were asked.
Your Honours, the civil party yesterday in his evidence said that he had been interviewed. He never said that he had been interviewed by an investigator. He was not sure who interviewed him. So I think that this question is predicated on an incorrect basis and it is confusing to the civil party.
Well, we don't have the official transcript yet, but I have noted down that he said, I cannot recall the names of the investigator. But I'm happy to reformulate or ask an open question. Mr. Civil Party, have you ever been interviewed by investigators of this court?
No. I was not interviewed by the said group. However, I was interviewed by another person.
Have you ever been interviewed by people from an organization called DC Cam?
They came to my house and interviewed me, and I told them everything. I told them that I was a victim and I lost my family members. And that's what I told them.
Just to make sure that you might not be confusing things, yesterday you were asked questions by one of the civil party lawyers. Was she the one in November 2010 that interviewed you together with another woman?
Yes, that is correct.
And your interview with your lawyer on the 22nd of November 2010, was that the only interview you ever gave in relation to the events that you described yesterday?
Yes, I was interviewed by, I do not recall the date that I was interviewed.
This interview conducted by the civil party lawyer who interviewed you yesterday, was that the only talk you had with her before yesterday, or did she talk to you about the facts also shortly before yesterday?
បាទខ្ញុំបាទក៏ជម្រាបជូន
I was asked to tell the truth so it can be used as evidence, and that I should not make any mistake in my account of the event. If something happened, then I should tell that that thing happened, and I told the truth.
But my question, I shall rephrase it, was did you recently speak to the lawyer that interviewed you or that examined you yesterday? Did she prepare you for your testimony yesterday?
Bonjour, monsieur.
President, Civil Party, please hold on, and the lead co-lawyer for Civil Parties, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. The manner in which our counsel prepared her client is entirely confidential. It's between her and the witness, and our colleague counsel Koppe has no need to know that detail. We don't ask him how many times he meets his client and what is said and what happens. It's perfectly confidential, and it seems to me that this is a totally inappropriate question. I would ask if we can move on to the next question, please. Thank you.
Mr. President, of course I realize that there is a serious confidentiality matter, and of course I will not ask the civil party what was discussed. But in order to be able to establish the reliability of this civil party, I would like to inquire whether there was a conversation just prior to the testimony yesterday, similar like the interview that was conducted by the civil party lawyer on the 22nd of November 2010. So I'm not going into the content, just I want to know whether he was prepped, yes or no.
This goes into the content, doesn't it?
No, I will obviously not ask the civil party what the lawyer told him, just whether such a conversation took place.
Your Honours, it is clear from the civil party's evidence that he was asked to tell the truth in his evidence, and that's what he has done. I think that there needs to be no more about the content or the details of any preparations or conversations between himself and his lawyer.
President, the observation and objection raised by the lead co-lawyer is appropriate, and Counsel Copper, please move on. And you better not ask questions regarding the confidential nature of the communication between the lawyer and her client.
Very well, Mr. President. Mr. Civil Party, did you ever, after 79, speak to national Cambodian investigators, for instance, police officers or other such investigators? So I mean right after 79 in the early 80s.
I was asked questions. I was asked how I was mistreated during the regime, how I was starved, etc. And I told them the truth. of what happened and how I was mistreated, because that was the fact, and that I was separated from my family members, so that my children were separated to live in separate cooperatives. And I told them everything regarding what happened to me and my family.
Just to be sure, were there ever criminal proceedings opened against you in the early 80s in respect of the death of your wife?
I was asked a question, and of course I was ensured that I can tell the person everything and the truth, because during the period of this government I won't be mistreated as I was during the Khmer Rouge regime. So I did tell the truth.
Were you ever in prison on the basis of accusations of you having done something to your wife?
Merci, excusez-moi.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. President. We missed the very end of the interpretation in French of the previous response. It would be very useful to hear the civil party repeating what he said just before, because the last bit was clipped off. Thank you.
President, civil party, can you repeat your last response? Civil party. I told the person the truth, then they stopped asking me any more questions, and I was not sure who actually questioned me at the time.
Counsel, just for the record, could you clarify the basis for the questions?
I would appreciate it if the civil party turns off or puts off his headphones so that I can explain to you why I'm asking this question.
Pour quelle raison?
Why, says the judge.
I don't like, it doesn't, it would be inappropriate if the civil party hears the explanation, because I will ask him questions about that after this.
Par ailleurs,
Judge Laverne, furthermore, Counsel Koppe, it seems that there was reference to an interview with DC Cam, but I haven't seen it on the file. Could you please tell us if this exists somewhere? And I have to say, I really don't quite understand the basis of all of your questions since the start of this morning's questioning. Thank you.
I had asked him a question whether he had ever had talked to national authorities in the beginning of the 80s, right after 79, which he said he had. That's how I understood his answer. Subsequently, I wanted to ask him whether he was ever in prison for accusations in relation to the death of his wife. And then, Judge Vance, you asked me the question why I'm asking this question. I'm very happy to explain, because the basis for my question is in E3/4989. But I think it would be helpful if the civil party doesn't hear my explanation. But if you're unwilling to instruct the civil party to take off his headphones, then I'll explain to you with his headphones.
Yes, you may proceed, Counsel.
Well, Mr. President, E3/4989, English EIN 00891034, Khmer 00556218, and French 00891236. There's a paragraph which the civil party offers as an explanation for something which is completely out of context and which made me asking these questions. He says, and I will quote, I would like to deny that the Khmer Rouge ever forced me to kill my Vietnamese wife in order for me to survive. I swear that this was not true. How could I kill my own wife or children whom I love so much? They started to kill Vietnamese when Vietnamese troops entered Cambodia. Now, in relation to other things he is saying in the same civil party application, that prompted me to inquire whether he was ever the subject of a criminal investigation right after '79. He, I think, just acknowledged that he did talk to national authorities in the early '80s. He was asked questions about this. So I think it's a fair question which goes directly to the reliability of the civil party.
President Counsel Pech Ong, you have the floor. Pech Ong, good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors. I think there might be a mistranslation from Khmer into English or French. In the Khmer text, and allow me to quote, if the principle was to say that if the husband was Khmer, and he had not have to kill his wife who was Vietnamese. And I believe this is the extract that Counsel Copper used. And this does not mean that the husband had to kill the wife. It means that if the husband was Khmer, then the Vietnamese wife would be killed. And this does not mean that the husband himself had to kill his Vietnamese wife. There is nowhere in this document which states that he was imprisoned. Thank you, Mr. President. President Counsel Copper, you may proceed with your questioning.
Sorry, may I just suggest something? Because if I understand it correctly, there is an allegation that the basis, or the translation, which is the basis for Counsel Copper's questions, is incorrect. So before we proceed on the basis of a potentially incorrect translation, an understanding is this is 3 sentences, or a couple of sentences.
And I'm only triggered actually by the words, I would like to deny, and I swear that this was not true. These are the 2 sentences that triggered me to ask these questions.
Perhaps we can ask in the meantime for, from one of our interpreters for a proper translation of these 3 sentences before we proceed.
Judge Laverne. Moreover, I'd like to see where Judge Coppe finds any reference to a criminal investigation and participation by the civil party in it. Is this something that he is inventing? I have to admit that I am really lost here. Thank you.
Et par ailleurs,
Furthermore, I asked a question about the existence of an interview with DC Cam. I have not received an answer, and I do not understand the basis for the question asked on that topic either.
Either there must be something going very wrong in the translation, or you fail to understand what has been going on. Judge Laverne, he said there was no DC Cam interview, so there is no DC Cam interview. It was the interview earlier with his lawyer, so that is out of the way. There is no mention, obviously, of any criminal investigation because that's not in this document. But it was my question whether he was ever involved in criminal proceedings against him, and he never gave an answer to that question. And the reason I'm asking this question is because out of the blue, without any context, in his own statement, he says, I would like to deny that the Khmer Rouge ever forced to kill my Vietnamese wife. I swear that this was not true. That's what has been going on for the last 20 minutes.
Lawyer for civil party, you may proceed. I believe we need to move as quickly as possible. This is the last chance that you take the stance this morning.
Just to put what Mr. Coppe is saying into context, and Mr. Coppe fails to do this, in accordance with the English version, E3/4989, page 3 of 3, the paragraph that Mr. Coppe is relying on is preceded by this paragraph. There was no policy that stated Cambodian husbands had to kill their Vietnamese wives by themselves. The Khmer Rouge actually asked me why I had chosen to get married to a Vietnamese wife and why I had chosen to get married to a Khmer wife when there were plenty of Khmer women. I told them that there was no such ban in the former regimes. And importantly, the preceding paragraph says, they only asked me this question after they had killed my wife. No people were forced to kill their Vietnamese wives or husbands by themselves. The Khmer Rouge clique was the one who actually killed those Vietnamese wives or husbands. That's the context in which he says, I did not kill my Vietnamese wife.
No, that's not what he says. He says, I would like to deny that they ever forced me. I swear that this was not true. I'm not saying that he did. I'm asking only a question whether he was ever involved in criminal proceedings. I think that's a fair question. That's all. If he says no, then I will move on.
President, the booth interpreter, do you have the document available? That is document E3/4989. If so, you should do the site translation. That is for the last 3 paragraphs of the document.
Look.
President interrupts. If you read, then there should be a side translation into English and French. In fact, I want the original Khmer text to be side translated into French and English. So please have the text read out in Khmer and at the same time an English and French translations shall be done. And the interpreter, Polly, please read the Khmer text again. Let me read the Khmer text again. Side translation. If the principal mentions that the husband is Khmer and that he shall kill his Vietnamese wife, no, there was no such principle. If I am asked why I married a Vietnamese wife, since there were many Khmer women, I told the Khmer rules that in the previous regimes, nobody prohibited me from doing so. This question was put to me after the Khmer Rouge clique had already killed my wife. Even for other people, no one was forced to kill his or her Vietnamese husband or wife. It was the Khmer Rouge clique who killed them. On the accusation that the Khmer Rouge clique forced me to kill my wife so that I would be spared, no, there was no such a thing. I swear on this because I loved my wife and children very much. I'd like to clarify that the principle of searching the Vietnamese to be killed happened when we heard that the Vietnamese troops actually attacked Cambodia. After my wife had been killed by the Khmer Rouge clique in late 1977 or early 1978, I remarried another wife named Ruh Sauri, and we have 7 children together. 2 of our children died, and now we have 7 children altogether from the previous marriage and the current marriage. End of quote of side translation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Oh.
I think the translation has clarified that the basis for your questions might have been a mistranslation. Do I understand that correctly? The way I heard it, there is no basis for your question now.
I heard the translation saying basically the same thing, that he was accused of having murdered his own wife, and an accusation of which he says, I swear it wasn't true. The French translation actually, I just verified, says the same thing. Now I hear the word accusation. I would like to deny that the Khmer Rouge ever forced to kill my wife. I swear that this was not true. So the 2 questions that I have is, was he ever accused by the authorities here or was he ever in prison for the killing of his wife? These are the two questions I would like to ask him. If it's no, 2 times no, then we can move on.
President, the chamber does not allow you to put such question to this witness, Mr. Cooper. Please move on.
Mr. Civil Party, have you ever signed a petition in '93 to the government and to the National Assembly?
Civil Party, I do not get your question, Counsel.
Maybe I should do it differently. Mr. President, I would like to show to the Civil Party document E3/5476. This is a petition in 1983 with all kinds of demands or requests to the National Assembly. We believe that he is one of the co-signers of this petition. Maybe I can show the Khmer version of this particular petition, ask him subsequently whether this is a signature and whether he can say something about the content of that petition.
President, you are allowed to do so. Civil Party. Actually, there is my signature on this document.
Would you now be so kind, Mr. Civil Party, and turn to the page where you see this little orange sticker?
Civil Party. After my review on the document, I do not see my name on it.
On the actual petition, Mr. President, that is the same document, E35476, English ERN 00824010, Khmer 0050816, French 00824010. Sorry. On that petition, you indeed cannot see your signature, but the signature belongs to the petition. So my question is whether you indeed were one of the persons who signed the petition that you see. Maybe a TPO person can assist the civil party. It's Khmer page 005081166. Mrs. Civil Party, it's a long time ago, September 1983, that you signed this petition. So I fully understand that you don't recall the content. So that's why allow me to let you through, or to guide you through. The first, it's a petition to the National Assembly of the People's Republic of Cambodia, and it starts. We, on behalf of 713 cadres, intellectuals, Buddhist priests, and ordinary people in Baribu district. My first question, did you sign this petition as a cadre or as an ordinary person, or any of the other two categories?
Answer. When I put my signature at that time, it was only me who put the signature.
Your name appears in a long list of names, but it seems that 713 people signed this petition. And my question is, did you sign this petition in your capacity as a cadre, as an intellectual, as a Buddhist priest, or as an ordinary person in Baribu district?
President, Civil Party, please hold on. You have the floor now, lawyer for civil parties.
Your Honour, there's been no establishment of any fact that he has in fact signed the petition. The evidence from the civil party has not come out that he has signed the petition. So I don't think that that question is an appropriate one to ask, given that that fact hasn't yet been established.
Well, he recognized his signature. The signature list is part of one coherent document, E3/5476. In fact, the petition is attached to another civil party application. Someone with the name Kim Samban, he offered this petition to the evidence in this case file, and he signed this, so it seems. And I just want to know in which capacity he signed this particular petition.
President, this question is allowed to put to the civil party. The objection of a lawyer for civil party is overruled. Mr. Civil Party, please give your response to the question.
ហើយខ្ញុំបានក៏បានជម្រាបជូននៅបញ្ហាដែលគាត់បានទៅសាកសួរខ្ញុំបានសូមជម្រាបជូន
Civil party. I would like to tell the court that perhaps I was confused a while ago. I am focusing on my occupation and my career, and it is true that I put this signature. President, Mr. Civil Party, please listen to the questions carefully before you give your responses. So far, you have not responded correctly to the questions put by the parties. Mr. Cooper, please put your last question once again.
My question was, do you remember signing this petition in your capacity as a cadre, as an intellectual, as a Buddhist priest, or just as an ordinary person coming from Baribu district?
Answer. When I put my signature, I held no position. At that time, I actually put my signature.
Behind your signature, you filled in that you are the secretary of Kampung Priya Pagoda in Chnoktru village. Is that correct?
But
Answer. Yes, that is correct. I was part of the committee of Aja in the pagoda. At that time, I was interested in the petition, and I was asked whether I was interested in putting my signature in the petition, and I agreed to put it.
For the benefit of all parties, Mr. President, let me read what this petition is about. It's not only a political petition, but it also goes to facts at, for instance, Wat Malom. So it reads as follows: petition to the National Assembly of the People's Republic of Cambodia. We, on behalf of 713 cadres, intellectuals, Buddhist priests, and ordinary people in Baribu district, having heard the National Assembly's resolution of the People's Republic of Cambodia during the 5th session of the 1st legislature, hereby unanimously support the 5th session of the 1st legislature scheduling every 20th of May as the day of condemnation and anger against the Pol Pot, Ieng Sary, and Khieu Samphan's genocidal regime and lackeys of Beijing Chinese expansionists, and the open letter of intellectuals and Cambodian priests, Buddhist priests on the crimes of the Pol Pot. At the same time, we, on behalf of 713 cadres, intellectuals, priests, and Cambodian people in Bariboor district, would like to request the National Assembly of People's Republic of Kampuchea to submit the request to intellectuals and Buddhist priests around the world who love peace and justice. Our 1352 relatives, namely 1,543 men and 978 women, were killed by Pol Pot, Ieng Sary, Khieu Samphan, who were the lackeys of Beijing Chinese expansionists. Various execution techniques were applied, such as slitting throats with the serrated edge of sugar palm frond, cutting the stomach open and filling it with grasses and burying alive. In addition, children were thrown against tree trunks, people were thrown into wells, and women were raped and their vaginas were violated, and so on. The evidence can be found everywhere, especially at Wat Samdak Moni, Wat Olu, Wat Prek Chik, Wat Kru, Wat Molom, Wat Bantain Clark, and Psa Commune. Having heard a part of the content of this petition, do you recall the content? Do you recall reading it before signing?
Answer. The document was read out aloud to me at that time, and I suffered the pain and suffering during the Khmer Rouge's time, and since that petition was consistent with those from other villages and communes, and I agreed to it.
Is it possible that what you described yesterday in respect of what you had heard about the alleged killing of your child, was actually coming from the content of this petition?
Answer. I was allowed to listen and put my signature on the document since I could witness what happened.
Mention is being made of Wat Molom. Is that a pagoda in the village of Molom, the commune in the Bariboor district?
Answer. Milum Turoka Pagoda was located within the Bariboor area.
What can you tell us about Wat Molom? What happened there?
Answer. When I was asked to prepare the fishing net, on one occasion I was asked to travel along that pagoda where people had been killed. And people were also killed at Roka Pagoda. Those people were under accusations.
I've lost quite some time, so I'll move on. Last question in respect of this petition. What does it mean when the words are used that Pol Pot, Ieng Sary, Khieu Samphan were lackeys of Beijing Chinese expansionists? Do you recall what that meant? Answer. On this point, at the time, I did not understand the meaning of the terms. I heard people say that Khmer Rouge were the Chinese lackey. Let me turn to your civil party application, Mr. Civil Party. You speak about a few alleged CPK cadres. You speak about Comrade Ro, who was a top unit chief. You speak about female Comrade Him, female Comrade Na, and female Comrade Kun. Why was it that when you signed this application, you called those cadres comrade? Answer. At that time, there was clear evidence, and those people were chiefs of my unit. Ru and was the male cadre, Nyum, Na, and Pung was responsible for economics in the female unit. Were you a cadre yourself, and is that the reason that you all call them comrades? Answer. I was simply an ordinary person. In the regime, I was simply a 17-year-old person, and I was an ordinary one, no relationship with the Khmer Rouge. In that same application, you speak about meetings that were held in between 75 and 79, meetings that were chaired by Taru with the participation of Comrade Na, Comrade Him, Comrade Kun and the people. And you said such meetings with everyone's participation were called general meetings. But then you say, and I quote literally, for secret meetings, for example, to prepare a plan to kill someone, participants only included chiefs of units or chiefs of the cooperative. Now my question is, how did you know that these were the people who had organized secret meetings to kill people? God. Answer. I did not know at the time whether people were killed. There was a meeting held, and those who work in the field and those who worked in the cooperatives and the fishing units were the subject of the discussion in the meeting. And concerning the meeting to plan the execution of those people, I was not invited to attend it. And concerning the task of the country,
and particularly the special task. I was not involved in it, and I did not know about that. At that time, I was the group chief of the fishing unit, and concerning the tasks that I had to perform, I was allowed to be aware of those tasks.
Why was it that the Khmer Rouge regarded you as quote-unquote the most knowledgeable man in your unit?
Answer. Let me clarify. I myself was good at speaking, particularly to mobilize people and to invite people in the meeting. And I myself was not sure whether I was good at convincing people. Since I was good at convincing people, Khmer Rouge assigned me to mobilize people. I was asked to convince people in the group, and I was appointed to be the group chief of the fishing unit.
Why was it that Comrade Roux, quote-unquote, always invited you to participate as an elder person in the unit in relation to mass weddings? Mr. President, I refer to document D22/27591, English ERN 00556-209. I will present the Khmer and French ERN numbers a little bit later, if you allow me. Let me read to you exactly what it says. Sometimes around 20 to 25 couples were wedded without any prior announcement, and this was done under the charge of Comrade Roux, who always invited you, to participate as an elder person in the unit. Why was it that Comrade Roux always wanted you present at ceremonies, at wedding ceremonies?
The cadre in charge of my unit actually did not call me to attend the meeting. However, the 4 cadres that I mentioned assigned me to cut trees and make poles. And then the cadre from District 20 called me to meet them, and actually I was afraid that I was called to be killed. However, when I was at the marriage ceremony, I was asked to make a speech about those couples who were arranged to get married by Angkar. And in fact, I was not appointed or assigned in advance to make a speech at all.
So summarizing testimony, you're saying that you were never yourself a cadre, you never attended secret meetings, and there's no particular reason why you call cadres comrade. And there's no really particular reason, or it didn't happen at all, that you were always present at wedding ceremonies. Is that correct?
During the Khmer Rouge regime, I did not hold any leading position at all. I was an ordinary citizen, and of course you can ask the people living in Baribo district, since there are still some people who used to live during the regime there with me. And if I were to hold any position under the Khmer Rouge regime, of course I would be responsible for any punishment, but I did not.
One last question, maybe, Mr. President, before the break. What was the reason that you remarried so quickly after the death of your wife?
I worked for the provincial office, and due to my separation and due to the attacking by the Khmer Rouge, actually I took a speedboat belonging to the Vietnamese troops. Then I was sent to Kampong Bang, and my name was called out, and actually I was afraid of being rearrested. Then I presented myself, and then I was appointed to be chief of the commune for 85 families. And about a month after, due to the sporadic attacks by the Khmer Rouge, I requested to be reassigned to Kampong Chang Provincial Town, and I was reassigned to an intelligence office of Division 204. Due to the difficult living conditions with my children, then I proposed to a widow who already had a child, and for that reason the marriage was organized for us.
Maybe one very last question, if you allow me, Mr. President. Yesterday you mentioned the names of your children. Is there a reason why the names of your children of your first wife are not the same as your last name or first name? Your name is Prak Dun, but all your children are called Paf. Paf Chim, Paf Pyu, Paf Uk Hing. Is there any particular reason for that?
At that time, I used the name of my grandfather as the surname for my children, beginning with Pao, Pao Kim, Pao Lim, Pao Long, etc. And my last child's name is Pao Hong Leng. So Pao is the name of my grandfather.
So you yourself were never called Pav. You were always, from the day you were born until now, Prak Dun. Is that correct?
But
Yes, that is correct. President, thank you. It is now convenient for us to take a short break. I will take a break now and resume at 10:30. Court officer, please assist the witness at the waiting room reserved for witnesses and civil parties, and invite him as well as the TPO staff back into the courtroom at 10:30. The court is now in recess.